Welcome to Freelancers Coffee Break. On this episode, there is no one, there is only me. I couldn't find anyone to interview with, and Ali is still on mandatory military leave, so you're left with me. And I wanted to talk about things that I go through my freelance career, and one is free tests. It's almost been a decade. This is my ninth year as a freelancer, and I continuously receive free tests when I apply to Upwork or even from direct clients. Uh, by now, I have an extensive portfolio, a website that I can show my previous work that are not NDA protected. Because some clients don't want their work to be displayed on my website or anywhere else, usually ad agencies, because they claim to their clients that it's their work or their internal work, and I'm fine with it. It is something that they tell me about it from the start. In that case, I give my rates accordingly, and I'm okay with it. I work on that, deliver the files, and just they are moved to my archive files, and that's it. But the rest of the work is on my website, the ones that I like, because not all work are portfolio worthy, I would say. There are some that are well made, but are not interesting for anyone. So they also move to archives too. And there's an extensive portfolio there, but still it's not enough for some clients. When I first started, of course, to get the job, I tended to accept the test proposals. I used to add watermark and so on. But as time progressed, I decreased number of test requests. And in fact, platforms like Upwork are against that, because a client that are not pure into it may just send the different parts of the work to different people as a test. But at the end, once they receive all the tests, they end up with a completed work uh, done by different freelancers, but that may be okay for them, and it's good to go. That's also an option. I tend to accept tests less and less nowadays, but of course, I know that a lot of freelancers still accept it, and they ask, should I accept them or not? Whatever I tell will not change the market, because if I tell, oh, don't accept free of charge tests, and because someone else in some part of the world will be desperate enough to accept free of charge test work. Uh, there are different views on that. As I said, I accepted that test less, and sometimes clients say, "Oh, it's okay. You can just put a big watermark on it." First of all, there are now AI tools that can easily erase watermarks without any problem or with minor quality issues. Even Photoshop now can, you have this AI capabilities that you can just mark the areas that where the watermark is, and they can just clean it up. So watermark is not a secure solution. And on my perspective is that you already spend the time. Maybe you could have spent that time for other purposes, like adding something to your website, just posting some material to LinkedIn. So there are so many options there that can help you to find new work other than doing that test. That test, if you look at Upwork and so on, you'll see that they are just interviewing maybe with 20 people. So 20 people are making tests, and then they'll, out of 20, they'll just select one person. But the time you spent is spent, whether you put the watermark or not. Um, so for me, it's very dubious. But sometimes, for example, that happened to me yesterday. There was an interview and so on and so forth. And the person asked me specifically, how much would you charge for the test? So he didn't ask, oh, would you do free of charge test, etc., etc. And I said, okay, hold. That's a good attitude from the client side. They say, okay, how much would it cost for the test part of it if I just want to see how it goes from there? Then I switched the thought because first of all, it's end of November and we are going to December, and for a retoucher, this is more like the lowest season because the Europe and North America, Australia, they are all going for Christmas holidays. The workload usually halves or even more than that. So I won't be that busy. It's already the case. I'm not that busy at the moment. One of the reasons I'm able to shoot this video. And therefore, I said, okay, that's a good attitude. I don't tell him. I'm not that, busy, and I didn't want him to open a project for a very low value, because then once I complete that part of the project, and if he doesn't continue on my Upwork profile, a very low value will be seen, for which part of a project that won't take more than half an hour, and that means around $40-50. I said, okay, if you are not in hurry, I'll do it for free. This time, I don't think I did something like this for many years, but just because of the attitude of the client, I said, okay, I'll do it as long as you are not in hurry. Sometime today or tomorrow, when I have some available time, I'll do it. And the client was very appreciative, and that's it. On the contrary, it was a month ago, I saw a freelance retoucher post on LinkedIn. And on that one, it was the contrary. It was a photographer in Dubai was looking for a freelance retoucher. I also posted that event on my LinkedIn as well. And he wanted some test retouch. Okay, not something I'm interested in, but he wants it. But I wanted to see what kind of photos he had. Oh boy, the amount of work there would take minimum 1 full day, maybe even longer. And there were even some people who wanted to do that. You are going to spend your whole day from beauty retouch to fashion retouch to product retouch. Anything that you can think about was there. So I just wrote a comment, and also the photographer. And the photographer, of course, wanted to mock me, said, okay, because you posted it, more people will come to my website and so on. But this is like slavery. You retouchers who are desperate will rush in. They'll do all those tests that will take them a day or more. If they do it much faster, probably the quality won't be there. And I don't think any retoucher who has the means and the ability and the quality would even consider doing all those retouches. So what I think that photographer will end up with a mediocre retoucher at the end, because any self-respecting person wouldn't do something like that. You don't know how many people will attend. You'll be maybe among one of those people, and then you are going to tell, okay, uh, this is nice, and I'm one of those 20-30 people. You don't know if you'll even get selected, and you don't know how much the pay is how regular the work is. He's just posting something. I'm looking for a retoucher. How much the pay is? What's your budget? Nothing. And then they expect you to do some work that will take you more than a day, most likely. So at the end, I'm just telling you the best option for you is don't bother. I understand for the newcomers, new starters who don't have the portfolio, you may have to do it. Everyone started from somewhere. But if you are established or even above a certain point, don't spend your time with test work. Just follow your instincts. Don't If you don't have any work, if you can't find anything to polish up your website, your social media, and so on, you don't have anything else, you may say, okay, I'll do it. Or when someone says, okay, can you do paid test? Of course. When I previously did a lot of paid tests, usually what I do, if they're serious enough, and what I tell them, okay, my standard rate for this project would be, for example, $100. Uh, but since this is the test, I'll do it for $75. Would that work for you? But the test would be only for this project only. And once we're done, you can make up your mind. And it shouldn't take, as I said, it's like 75%, 60% of your normal rate, not even half most of the time. And if they're serious, they usually are okay with it. Hope it helps, and I would like to hear your thoughts on this subject as well. Please just submit your thoughts, how you interact with clients who ask for free test work, and also let me know what disturbs you most, or what would you like to listen about my intake on these matters. If you have questions, feel free to post it on our LinkedIn social group. I think it's helpful for other freelancers. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.